It had been a long time since I'd seen a truly mind-bending thriller movie, but this time, I finally found one. Korea's Wall to Wall. In this story, an honest and hard-working young man would come home after a long day's work, only to hear terrifying noises coming from the ceiling. The noise drove him so crazy that he ended up in some serious trouble. So, let's dive into the rest of the story. At the start, we see Seoul, the capital of Korea, on April 4th, 2021. In the background, a news anchor informs us that due to the COVID pandemic, Seoul's real estate market has gone wild. The prices of all houses and apartments are skyrocketing. So anyone looking to buy property is being advised to act fast because prices are expected to rise even more in the future. Hearing this, a young man named Usan rushes to buy an apartment. He uses all his life savings, half of his salary, and a big loan from the bank to pay 1 billion won for a flat. He believed that once the pandemic was over, the price would go up even more. He imagined the people in his neighborhood congratulating him, and even at work, his status and respect had grown. After all, owning an apartment in a city like Seoul was a huge deal. He even married the love of his life, and, after paying off the loan, bought a beautiful piece of land far from the city to build a farmhouse. In his dreams, everything was perfect. But reality hits hard when we jump to August 8th, 2024. Inside that same apartment, Usan is lying in a filthy, messy state. Paying the monthly installments for the flat has made him so broke that he can't even afford to pay his electricity bill. In the pitch-dark heat, he's suddenly woken up by the vibration of his phone. But when he checks, there's no vibration at all. It's actually the intense noise coming from the apartment above him. Furious, he still forces himself to endure it and leaves the next morning for work. On the way, he learns that apartment prices in Seoul have dropped significantly. During the pandemic, many people left the city for their hometowns, and over the years, they've settled there permanently. As a result, demand for Seoul apartments has fallen, and so have the prices. Anyway, at work, Usan finds out that their manager recently invested in cryptocurrency and became rich. Seeing all this made Usan feel even more miserable. To make matters worse, one of his co-workers tells him, "If you had bought Bitcoin instead of that apartment, you'd be much better off right now." What a stupid move. Irritated, Usan steps outside and runs into his friend Jack. Jack tells him the manager has invited everyone to a party that night and asks if he's coming. Usan declines, saying he has work to do. Jack teases him, "Work all day and all night? What's the point?" Usan explains that he still has a lot of loan payments left, and after paying them with just his salary, he barely has any money left for himself. That's why he has to do extra work at night. Jack insists they should go to the party and maybe get the manager drunk enough to reveal some trading tips. But Usan refuses again. Later that night, when everyone else leaves the office, we see Usan charging his fan, power bank, and other devices. These are what will help him get through the night. He also sneaks snacks and small food items from his co-workers' drawers. His financial situation is so bad that he can't even afford proper meals. When he returns to his flat, he finds notes stuck on his door from the tenants downstairs, asking him not to make noise at night. Ironically, he's the one who's been suffering from the noise himself. Frustrated, he calls the building's maintenance manager and complains about the loud noises coming from the apartment above him. He also asks the manager to explain to the tenants in 1301 downstairs that he's not the one making the noise. After filing his complaint, he leaves to do food delivery work, riding through the night to earn a little extra cash. When he finally returns home again, he finds yet another note from the downstairs tenants asking him not to make noise. Anyway, he went inside, quickly freshened up, and, completely exhausted, lay down and fell asleep. But suddenly, that intense vibration sound woke him up again. Utterly tired and irritated, Usan didn't know what to do. Just then, his downstairs neighbor, Mrs. Yusha, came knocking on his door. When Usan stepped out to talk to her, the woman kept saying, "Look, my daughter has an exam in a few days. Please, don't make these noises at night. It's really hard for us to sleep, and my daughters can't concentrate on their studies." Usan kept trying to explain to her, "Ma'am, I'm not making any noise. This sound is coming from above my apartment. I can't even sleep properly because of it." But Yusha said, "My husband is 100% sure that the sound is coming from your apartment." Frustrated, Usan replied, "How many times do I have to tell you? I'm not the one making it. If you don't believe me, come inside and see for yourself." The woman immediately walked into Usan's apartment. She saw the messy, filthy state he lived in. And strangely enough, the moment Yusha stepped inside, the noise stopped completely. She said, "I knew it. You were the one making the noise. See, now that I'm here, there's no sound at all. I'm warning you, my husband won't tolerate this disturbance." Saying this angrily, Yusha stormed out. Finally, annoyed beyond measure, Usan decided to investigate the source of the noise himself. He went upstairs to the apartment above his, where he met a thug-like man named Jinho. Seeing Jinho, Usan got a bit scared, but calmly said, "Sir, I actually live right below your floor. Every day my downstairs neighbors threaten me, saying I make noises at night, but I haven't made any noise. I think it might be coming from your apartment." Jinho replied, "Man, I can't even sleep because of the noise from upstairs. Since you're already here, why don't you go tell the people above me to stop making noise?" With no other choice, Usan went up another floor and met the resident there. But here too, he learned that this person wasn't making any noise either. In fact, he was also annoyed by the noise coming from his upstairs neighbors. After this person left, Usan went up yet another floor. He couldn't believe that noise from 3 floors above could travel all the way down to his apartment. Still, to be sure, he went to the 17th floor. Inside, he found an elderly man and his cluttered apartment. Without thinking much, Usan said, "Sir, please don't take this the wrong way, but could you walk around less at night? Because of the noise, none of us can sleep." Hearing this, the old man got furious. "I haven't made any noise. I'm disabled. I can't even walk properly. How could I possibly be making noise? Are you here to make fun of me? Get out right now." Scolded and embarrassed, poor Usan left and decided to meet the building's secretary. He went to the top floor, where he met a woman named Lena. Lena welcomed him inside, and there, Usan explained everything. "Ma'am, because of the loud noises from above, I can't sleep at all. On top of that, my downstairs neighbors keep threatening me to stop making the noise. I've been going around asking the residents above me, but none of them claim to be making it." Lena replied, "Look, all the walls in these apartments are load-bearing structures, so it's impossible to tell if the noise is coming from above or below." That's when Usan started to suspect that maybe his downstairs neighbors were making the noise to disturb him. Something about that woman, Yusha, had already felt strange to him. The secretary then said, "Don't worry, just be patient for a few more days. That apartment below you actually belongs to me, and Yusha's family rents it. I don't like them either. In 2 months, I'll kick them out. Until then, please try to manage." Saying this, Lena even handed him some money. The truth was, Lena knew that if news about this noise spread around, the value of the building's apartments would drop even further. She wanted to cover it up and wait it out, because soon, a new metro station was going to be built here, and once that happened, the property value would skyrocket. Hearing this, Usan felt happy and agreed to be patient for a few days. But when he returned to his apartment, he saw that the woman downstairs had slashed the tires on his bicycle. Usan got extremely angry, but since the secretary had just given him money, he decided to stay calm. The next day at the office, Usan was chatting with his friend Jack. Jack told him, "I told you before, you should have come to the party with me. That night, I got the manager drunk and found out about his secret trading signal group. And guess what? I got insider info. Tonight at midnight, the price of GB coin will drop to just 815 won. In just 5 days, on August 15th, the price will skyrocket by 850%. If we cash out then, we'll make nearly 9 times our investment." Even after hearing all this, poor Usan just couldn't believe it. Besides, he didn't have any money to invest anyway. But his friend insisted, "Come on, man, this is a sure profit for you. If you want, you can even take out a loan from someone. Because if you invest 80 million yen, you'll get 9 times the profit. That's 720 million yen. Even after paying off your 700 million yen debt, you'll still have 20 million left." But even after hearing all this, it was pointless, because Usan didn't have any money at all. Still, after hearing his friend's words, he started keeping a close eye on the market, and he saw that, sure enough, GB coin's price was gradually dropping a lot. He got so obsessed with the market that, at night, he stopped doing his food delivery job and only kept watching the trading charts. Even while thinking about money, on his way back home, he got into a small accident and was slightly injured. That's when he decided he'd had enough. He didn't want to live such a miserable life anymore. Right then, he came across a broker's office, a place that mainly dealt with buying and selling houses, apartments, and land. He went straight to the broker and said, "Sir, I want to sell my apartment tonight. It's worth 1 billion yen, but I'll give it for just 850 million, but it has to be sold by tonight." the broker replied. "All right, go home and give me about an hour. I'll see what I can do." Hearing this, Usan returned home and waited anxiously. Soon the broker called him and asked him to come to the office. There, Usan learned that someone wanted to buy his apartment for only 800 million yen. At first he didn't agree, but in the end, he accepted an advance of just 85 million yen and sold it. His plan was to make a profit within 5 days, return the money, and get his apartment back. After that, Usan rushed home because GB coin's price had already started dropping sharply. He ran up to his apartment and confirmed with his friend that he should only buy the coin when the price hit 815 yen. Finally, after waiting a long time, the coin's price reached its lowest point, 815 yen, and right then, Usan bought coins worth nearly 80 million yen. That night turned into morning. His friend Jack called him again and said, "Write this down carefully. On August 15th at 8 a.m., when the return reaches 815%, that's when we'll cash out. After that, the market will crash completely. Don't get greedy and withdraw early. Wait until August 15th at 8 a.m. And let's do one thing. Let's take leave from work until then. For the next 24 hours, we'll only keep an eye on the market. And if we see any trouble, we'll pull the money out immediately." And so, that's exactly what they did. Usan now spent all day and night staring at the trading charts on his computer and phone. At the same time, he cleaned his entire apartment. He was secretly very happy because the market was still in his favor. Watching all of this unfold, Usan eventually got exhausted and fell asleep. That's when a mysterious man entered his room and went through all his loan documents, the papers for selling his house, and even his trading data. Suddenly, Usan was woken up again by the same strange sound coming from the building. And then he heard someone at his door. When he opened it, he saw that it was Jin Ho, the guy who lives in the apartment above his, there to meet him. Jin Ho said, "I want to check your apartment because the people living below you came to my place and filed a complaint." So, Usan invited him inside and said, "Look man, I haven't made any noise. I don't even have anything in my room that could make that kind of sound." And strangely enough, as soon as Jin Ho stepped into the room, the noise stopped again. Usan told him, "I think it's the people downstairs. They're making those sounds just to mess with us. Let's go check out their place together." But Jin Ho snapped, "Do you think I'm stupid? How could a noise from a floor below reach my apartment? I know very well that you're the one making these sounds. Cut this nonsense out, or you're going to seriously regret it." And just as Jin Ho stormed out of the room, the noise started again. Furious, Usan began jumping around his own floor to make noise in return, trying to get revenge. That's when he noticed someone filming him through the window, recording all his noise and outburst. Without wasting a second, he rushed to the apartment downstairs, banging on the door and yelling, "I know you guys are the ones messing with me. You're making videos so it looks like I'm the one causing the noise." But there was no one inside that apartment, so he went outside and stood below his own apartment to keep an eye on it. That's when a strange man named Inu approached him and said, "Did you hear about the murder that happened a few days ago in a building in the society next to ours?" Usan asked, "Who got killed and why?" The man replied, "Well, people in that building had been complaining for a long time about loud noises. And lately, we've been getting a lot of noise complaints from our building too." Usan scoffed, "Come on, no one would kill someone just because of noise." The man said, "Oh, they definitely could. And if something like that happens here, the apartment prices in this building will drop a lot." Hearing that, Usan got quite scared. He quickly got into the elevator to go back to his apartment. But just then, that strange man stepped into the elevator with him. The man had a paper cutter in his hand, and seeing that, Usan immediately assumed that this was the same man who had committed the murder in the neighboring society. On top of that, the strange way this man looked made it seem like he might kill Usan today as well. Fortunately, the man got off one floor below Usan. Usan quickly ran into his own apartment and realized that the man lived right below him, which meant he was Mrs. Yu's husband. His suspicion now turned into certainty, that it must be the people living on his floor who were making all that noise. They were probably trying to harass the owners of the building's apartments so they would be forced to sell at a low price, or maybe even kill someone to drop the property value of the entire building. But Usan was extremely stubborn. He shut all the doors and windows of his apartment and spent day and night, 24 hours, monitoring the crypto market on his phone and laptop. The constant terrifying noise every day and the endless complaints from the neighboring flats no longer seemed to reach his ears. He was so deeply absorbed in watching the charts that he stayed awake for several days straight without sleeping. Then one day, unable to bear the exhaustion any longer, the poor guy fell asleep right there. He dreamt that his mother had come to visit his home. Everything was going fine, but suddenly, because of that strange noise, his mother screamed, and in a moment, his entire apartment began collapsing. That's when Usan woke up. Fortunately, there was no noise in his room at that moment, so he calmly cooked himself some food and began eating while watching the charts. But right then, that terrifying loud noise started again. This time, Usan couldn't control himself. He threw aside the things in his room, grabbed a wooden mallet, and began pounding the floor with it furiously. He wanted to make noise himself to annoy them back. But at that moment, all the residents of the building came to his door to complain. Fuming, Usan opened the door and said, "Hey, I haven't made any noise. Why are you disturbing me?" Everyone replied that if he really hadn't made any noise, then they wanted to come inside and check his apartment. But Usan had just been pounding the floor with the mallet, which was still lying inside his room. So he panicked and said, "I didn't make any noise, believe me, it's the people living below me who are doing it." But none of the residents believed him. Luckily, the building secretary arrived at that moment and told everyone, "Look, don't make such a fuss over a little noise. If word spreads about this, the value of the apartments in this society will drop drastically, and then everyone will face losses. It's better if we solve this matter calmly." Usan said, "You're right, ma'am. Let's check the 13th floor apartment first, because I'm sure the people there are making this noise." But the residents replied, "Since we're already in front of your apartment, let's check yours first, and then we can go downstairs." This time, Usan reluctantly agreed. When they entered the apartment, they saw there was no noise happening at all. But then, while Usan was still outside, a loud, terrible noise suddenly started inside the apartment. Usan shouted, "See, I'm standing right here in front of you, and the noise is still happening. Do you still think I'm at fault?" Before he could finish speaking, Jinho called everyone inside, saying that they had found a speaker and a huge steel rod inside Usan's apartment, the very setup through which the noise had been playing non-stop. Everyone understood that it was actually Usan who had been making the noise. But seeing this, Usan completely lost his mind. He screamed, "I didn't make any noise. I know it's those people on the 13th floor who set me up." Pointing at Inu, who was standing right in front of him, he shouted, "This man is a murderer. He killed someone, and now he wants to drive me out of here." The rest of the residents, hearing such ridiculous claims, became furious at Usan, and right then, Inu kicked Usan down. When Usan was trying to defend himself in fear, Inu suddenly jumped himself, making everyone else believe that Usan must have attacked him. So, the police immediately arrived and arrested Usan. But today was August 15th, which meant that at exactly 8 a.m., Usan had to sell all his coins. He kept asking the police for his phone, and they actually gave it to him. But by then the phone was already broken, so he couldn't log into his crypto wallet. He kept pleading, "Sir, please give me half an hour. I'll go home and then come right back." But once someone is arrested, the police don't just let them go. Having no other choice, Usan faked severe stomach pain and asked to go to the bathroom. Seeing this, the police had no option but to let him go. But instead, Usan bolted straight into a police officer's cabin, shut the door, and started trying to log into his crypto wallet from the officer's computer. However, because mobile verification was enabled, it was impossible to verify without his phone. After many attempts, Usan finally managed to log into his wallet on the police computer. By that time, the other officers were already trying to break down the door. But Usan's returns hadn't yet reached their peak, so he decided to wait a bit longer. With just one click, he could get all the money. At the very last moment, the police broke the door open and shocked Usan with a taser gun. But he was so obsessed with selling his coins that, instead of passing out, the electric shock seemed to freeze him in place like a stone. Desperately, he kept trying to sell all the coins. But then the police disconnected the computer's power line, and Usan finally lost consciousness. When he regained consciousness, the building secretary had come to bail him out. The police even apologized to him because they learned that Inu had attacked him first. After being released, Usan rushed home, opened his laptop, and checked how much money was in his account, only to realize that he had never actually sold the coins. And now, the coin's value had dropped so drastically that he had lost nearly 70 million. At this point in life, Usan had lost the flat he had bought with so much hard work, and he had no money left. Overwhelmed with despair and pain, he wrote a final letter and decided to jump from the building. But as soon as he stepped onto the balcony, he heard that noise again from the floor below. This time, determined to take revenge, he grabbed the wooden mallet and headed downstairs. Just then, Jinho came from above and said, "Didn't I tell you not to make noise?" Hearing this, Usan exploded in rage and attacked Jinho, shouting, "I told you I didn't make any noise!" But Jinho was much stronger. He beat Usan and threw him inside his apartment. That's when Jinho noticed the letter lying on Usan's table. After reading it, he understood Usan's pain. He told him, "Brother, I understand you've been through a lot, but if you end your life now, what will happen to your mother? Instead of doing that, let's go together to that woman downstairs and find out why she's making these noises." Hearing this, Usan felt a small spark of hope. He went with Jinho to the 13th floor of the building, but even after knocking repeatedly, no one responded, so they entered directly. The door was unlocked. Jinho said, "Look, brother, let's start searching quickly. We'll definitely find the speakers somewhere in here. They could return any moment." Saying this, they both began searching every corner of the apartment. That's when Usan noticed a pile of documents on the table. From them, they realized that these people were heavily in debt. Not only that, after looking at some ownership papers of this flat, it felt like the sky had fallen on Usan's head. Someone with the exact same name had also bought his flat at a low price. Jinho said, "Hey, my flat owner's name is also Yong. That means all the flats on the 13th, 14th, and 15th floors have been bought by Yong." But Usan knew that the owner of the 13th floor flat was the building's secretary, Mrs. Lena. So, was Mrs. Lena hiding something? Jinho said, "It's possible that Mrs. Lena is the one creating all this noise in the building so that the owners get irritated and sell their flats cheaply, and she could be buying them under a different name." Usan agreed with Jinho's theory, because very soon, a metro station would be built next to the building, which would send the property prices skyrocketing. So, Mrs. Lena could indeed be doing this. Jinho said, "Let's check Mrs. Lena's apartment. If we find any proof, we can blackmail them into canceling the contract for your sold flat, and you can get it back." Hearing this, the two of them made a plan and went to meet Mrs. Lena. Usan was talking with Mrs. Lena inside her room about the incident from the previous day. Just then, Jinho appeared at the door. While Jinho was keeping Mrs. Lena engaged in various conversations to delay her, Usan pretended he needed to use the bathroom and started searching different parts of the house. But even after searching thoroughly, he found nothing. Eventually, he spotted a steel safe and went into Mrs. Lena's bedroom to try and open it. Just then, a man saw him. This was the same man who had bought Usan's apartment for only 800 million a few days ago. Usan learned that this man was Mrs. Lena's husband and that he had been buying these apartments under the name of their son, Young. Angry, Usan shouted, "I know you're making these noises to drive us away. Give me back all the documents from my apartment, or I'll go to the police and tell them everything." Seeing the situation, Mrs. Lena told Jinho, "Look, take Usan out of here. We'll discuss these matters later." So, Jinho somehow managed to lead Usan outside. Sitting outside, Jinho told him, "Man, you fool. When you got caught, instead of shouting and making a scene, you should have made some excuse and gotten out quietly. Then we could have gone back to her place again later. Now we can't directly enter her apartment anymore. We'll have to come up with a new plan." With Jinho's support, Usan saw a bit of hope. They decided to freshen up and get some sleep, and then make a plan together at night. As usual, Usan went home, freshened up, and was about to sleep when he remembered the mobile phone that had been planted in his room to frame him. He opened the phone and saw that it was connected to a Wi-Fi network in the building. He took the phone to the front doors of all the apartments on the 13th and 14th floors one by one. Strangely, the moment he stood in front of Jinho's apartment, the phone showed a full Wi-Fi signal, meaning the phone belonged to Jinho. Now, Usan was determined to search Jinho's apartment at any cost. So, he went to Jinho's gym to meet him. While entering, Usan skillfully swapped Jinho's apartment key with his own. Fortunately, Jinho didn't even notice. Later, while they were taking a steam bath together, Usan got scared seeing Jinho's body covered in various tattoos and several scars. Sensing his fear, Jinho told him, "Brother, there's no reason to be afraid of me. I'm actually an undercover reporter. I used to make videos of dangerous situations and sell them to TV channels. To catch criminals, I had to blend in with them, and during that process, I got many injuries. But despite all this, it never really paid off. because the TV channels would take all the credit. Now, the noise problem in our building isn't actually bad news. These people have annoyed us so much that sometimes I feel like killing them. Don't you feel the same? Usan replied. You're right. If I had the chance, I'd kill them too. Saying this, Usan left Jinho there and went home because he wanted to search Jinho's apartment before he returned. As planned, he entered Jinho's apartment with the swapped key. There, Usan finally found proof that the phone did indeed belong to Jinho. Not only that, inside the apartment, he found many investigation photos and headlines showing Jinho had done some truly good work. From exposing government corruption to solving several murder cases and uncovering corruption in major construction projects. Usan took photos of all these documents on his own phone. He also noticed that Jinho had a tablet through which he could control the cameras of every apartment in the building. In fact, Jinho had hacked all the cameras installed at the apartment doors, keeping surveillance on everyone inside. All of this was being controlled from a hidden storeroom, which Usan also discovered. Trying to leave quickly, Usan was suddenly caught when Jinho entered the apartment. Jinho realized that their keys had been swapped, but assumed Usan had taken it by mistake. He then saved the footage from the camera hidden in the locket around his neck. The footage where Usan had said, "If I had the chance, I'd kill those noisemakers." This was all part of Jinho's plan to frame Usan, as by now he already had proof of Usan making noise. He also had videos of Usan threatening the old man in his apartment, searching the building secretary's home, and finally saying he would kill the noisemaker. Seeing all this, Jinho laughed and said, "Well then, Usan is about to be in serious trouble." Saying that, he went to his room to get some sleep. Meanwhile, inside his room, Usan was hiding and saw everything. He realized that he had been badly framed, so he decided that the only way to save himself was to kill Jinho. So, he went to attack Jinho while he was sleeping. But poor Usan couldn't bring himself to actually kill him. Just then, someone arrived at Jinho's apartment. Hearing the doorbell, Usan quickly hid under Jinho's bed. When Jinho opened the door, he saw that the tenant woman from the 13th floor apartment had come to meet him. Her name was Yusha, and she was furious today. She started destroying all the camera setups in Jinho's storeroom. Shouting, she said, "Because of you, my husband is lying unconscious in the hospital. The doctor said he may never wake up again." Jinho replied, "So what do you want me to do? I only told him to pretend to get beaten up by Usan. If he really hit his head against the wall and cracked his skull, is that my fault? And do you think you're any better? You also helped frame a good guy like Usan, just so you could pay off your debts and collect your children's school fees. So stop crying here and take some money instead." Saying this, Jinho handed her some cash. But Yusha, in rage, began smashing Jinho's hard drives. Seeing this, Jinho became so enraged that without thinking, he started hitting Yusha with a hammer, over and over, until he killed her. These hard drives had hundreds of pieces of evidence stored inside. After killing her, Jinho wrapped her body and went out to buy plastic sheets to dispose of it. Seeing him leave, Usan finally crawled out from under the bed. Now, he completely understood that Jinho was actually the main villain. He was just about to run out of the apartment when Jinho appeared right in front of him, because in truth, Jinho hadn't left the building at all. Looking at Usan, Jinho said, "Where do you think you're running? You came here and killed Yusha, and now you want to kill me too." Saying that, he started hitting his own head and then shoved the hammer into Usan's hands. He said, "What wrong did Yusha do to you? Why did you kill her? I came here to save her, and you even killed me. Now, I'll make sure you get blamed for this. I've played the game so well that you'll never escape. I have video footage against you, and the proof of you swapping my keys is in the gym's security cameras. Plus, everyone in this building knows about your fight with Yusha. So, if she's dead, you're the one who benefits the most." Usan shouted, "Why are you framing me? What did I ever do to you?" Hearing this, Jinho finally revealed the truth. "Look man, it's not really my fault. I just didn't find an easier, more gullible prey in this building than you. You've already lost everything, and you were practically ready to die anyway. So, what's the problem if you die at my hands now? Do you have any idea how many billions are stolen in the construction of buildings in this city? This building's construction wasn't even done properly. That's why sound travels so fast here. I came here to catch those who cut corners and pocketed the money. I'm here to destroy all the substandard buildings across Korea and save millions of lives. Believe me, with your one death, millions will be saved. And tomorrow's news will say, After losing a lot of money in bank loans and trading, a man lost his mental stability and killed a woman living in the apartment below for making noise. Jin-ho entered the apartment to save the woman, but the brave journalist got injured himself. Later, Woo-san took his own life. Then, while investigating the incident, journalist Jin-ho uncovered proof of irregularities in construction and billions of stolen funds. The big names behind the construction will be caught, and I'll become the greatest hero in the country. Saying this, he moved to kill Woo-san, but Woo-san folded his hands and begged for mercy. "Please forgive me, I'll help you. I don't want to live this hopeless life anymore either. I'll join you and help catch those big construction tycoons. In return, just give me back my apartment." Hearing this, Jin-ho calmed down a little, because the entire construction of this building had been done by Mrs. Lena's husband's company. So he said, "All right, then what's your plan?" Woo-san says that because of the building's noise, the woman named Yusha was told to leave her apartment. So Yusha decided to take revenge by killing her landlord and then ending her own life. Jin-ho really liked this plan, so he decided to let Woo-san go this time. After that, they started carrying Yusha's dead body upstairs to Mrs. Lena's apartment. Finally, they quietly entered the apartment. Then, Jin-ho cut the gas line of the flat and placed the cutter in the dead Yusha's hand. After that, they kidnapped Mrs. Lena and knocked her husband unconscious. Mrs. Lena was shocked to see Jin-ho in front of her. She asked him why he was doing this to her. And finally, we get to know Jin-ho's true motive. He told Mrs. Lena, "Remember, 2 years ago I published a report exposing negligence in a huge construction project, but at that time, you were one of the country's most renowned lawyers. You took money from the owners of that construction company and didn't let my report be broadcast. To make that report, I risked my life. I was beaten by countless thugs, but because of corrupt lawyers like you, we couldn't catch those big construction scammers. Since then, I've been after you, only to expose all your corruption. So you better hand over those account books where all the black money records of those corrupt real estate company owners are kept." But Mrs. Lena said she didn't have any such account book. Then Jin-ho said, "There are cameras in your house. I've heard you have the account book. Now tell me where it is." But Lena replied that only her husband knew where it was. She didn't. So, leaving Woo-san in the room, Jin-ho went to Mrs. Lena's bedroom to open the iron safe. He believed that something so important would be hidden inside it. Meanwhile, Mrs. Lena pleaded with Woo-san, "Please help me. I know you are a good man. He must be blackmailing you into doing all this. Set me free, and under the table in the next room there's a gun. If I get it, I'll save you. I promise to return your apartment to you." But before she could finish speaking, Jin-ho returned to the room. He dragged Mrs. Lena into her bedroom because the safe didn't contain any account books, only some cash. Seeing this, Jin-ho started brutally beating Mrs. Lena and her husband. Watching this, Woo-san quickly followed Mrs. Lena's instructions, pulled the gun out of the desk drawer, and aimed it at Jin-ho. He even tried to fire it, but he didn't know how to use it. Jin-ho took the opportunity to beat Woo-san mercilessly and shouted, "Why did you betray me? I won't spare you today." When he was almost about to kill Woo-san, Mrs. Lena suddenly pointed the gun at Jin-ho's head from behind. Even though no bullet came out, a powerful tear gas shot out. Because of this, Jin-ho's eyes and face started burning badly. He tried to run away. At that moment, Mrs. Lena handed a knife to her husband and said, "Don't let Jin-ho escape. Finish him off completely." But here, Woo-san was in trouble. To save himself, he pleaded with Mrs. Lena for help. But instead of helping, she locked the door on him. Finally, after a while, Woo-san slowly picked up a stick and walked forward. He saw that Jin-ho had already killed Mrs. Lena's husband. But before dying, the man had stabbed Jin-ho in the stomach. With the stick in hand, Woo-san slowly approached Jin-ho. Then, from behind, Mrs. Lena said to Woo-san, "Kill him. I'll take care of everything." But Woo-san still couldn't bring himself to kill Jin-ho. He said, "We should hand him over to the police." Jin-ho kept telling him, "Don't listen to that woman. She's a traitor, a devil." While saying this, Jin-ho died right there. Immediately from behind, Mrs. Lena attacked Woo-san and beat him badly, injuring him. She shouted, "You can't even do a single job properly." Then she smashed the door camera first. Laughing, she pulled out the account book hidden inside one of the books near the camera. She said, "You fools couldn't find the account book that was right in front of your eyes, and you came here to expose me? Do you think if buildings are constructed properly, the noise will stop? It's not the building making noise, it's people. And besides, do you know how much money it would take to soundproof these buildings? If we did that, poor people like you couldn't even dream of buying flats here. Our job is to build at low cost and sell at a high price. And you couldn't even understand this simple thing. Saying this, Lena was about to kill Usan. But right then, Jinho woke up from behind. He wasn't actually dead yet. This time, he tightly grabbed Mrs. Lena and stabbed her again and again until she died, right there. After that, the severely injured Jinho kept telling Usan the same thing over and over. Give me the account book. But Usan didn't listen to anyone anymore. He said, all of you are traitors. You only thought about yourselves. No one ever cared about me. So he kept only the papers for his own apartment and burned everything else in the fire. Then he left all the injured and dead inside the room and walked outside. A few moments later, because the gas line had been cut, a massive explosion occurred in the building, killing Jinho and everyone else. Along with that, all the evidence was destroyed. After things calmed down, we see a lawyer investigating the entire incident. Now, the official version of the story became this. A man named Jinho, an undercover journalist, was keeping an eye on a contractor and a lawyer to expose negligence in a construction project. But when they found out, he got into a conflict with the contractor and the lawyer. During one of their fights, Usan happened to witness everything. So, they tried to kill Usan as well. However, Usan survived, but in a huge explosion, everyone else died. All the documents were burned to ashes. Therefore, in the eyes of the law, Usan was innocent. He then returned to his village home to live with his mother. He stayed there for several days, and he decided that he would never return to the city again. But after a few days, he remembered something. He came back to the city and went to his old apartment. Inside one of the drawers there, we see that Usan still had the account book and the list of corrupt people safely stored. Seeing all this, Usan began laughing like a madman, and the movie ends right there. So, how did you like this huge, long story? Let me know in the comments. That's all for today. Goodbye.